Howdy students, we're going to talk for a minute about quadratic graphs, what they look like, some of the names of the things, and how to find them. First thing, let's take a look at what quadratic graph looks like. Quadratic is where you've got an x squared. You got your independent variable squared, looks like this, y equals, let's just say x squared plus 3. This graph is going to look something like this. It's going to have a few pieces you need to know about. The first is the AOS. This is the axis of symmetry. And it's going to be the line that divides the parabola in half. This is the parabola. This is the axis of symmetry. In this case, it's the y-axis. So x equals 0 is going to be the AOS, the axis of symmetry. Now the axis of symmetry means every point to the left and right is equidistant, or the same distance from that axis of symmetry. So it divides our parabola in half from left to right. Boom. Right down the middle. The next point we're going to talk about, or the next piece that we're going to talk about, is the vertex. The vertex is the maximum or the minimummost point on your parabola. In this case, our vertex would be 0, 3. Right here. It's a minimum. Now the parabola can only have a maximum or a minimum. You see these two arrows here indicate that this parabola is going to continue upwards towards infinity. So we're going to continue to grow as x grows. So there is no logical maximum. This graph will continue to increase to infinity. So graphs with a minimum will have an upside down U shape. They'll have an a value that's greater than 0. So example, x squared, 3x squared, 0.5x squared. These are all minimum, or they will all have a minimum, but no maximum, because they are positive and will continue to decrease. Maximum graphs, however, they have a maximum at their vertex. This is because a is not 0, or a is less than 0. So things like negative x squared, negative 3x squared, negative 0.5x squared. These all are maximum graphs. They will have a maximum, but no minimum. The graph will continue to fall. All right. How to find these values? If we remember that quadratics, we have pieces, the coefficients a, b, and c. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is the value attached to x squared, b is the value attached to x, and c is our constant at the very end. Let's say we had y equals 2x squared minus 8x plus 1. Our AOS, we can find negative b over 2a. X equals this value is the vertical line that will divide our parabola in half. Now there's a way to derive the formula. We're not going to get into that today. This is simply the formula that will give you that AOS. So we take our b value, it's negative 8. So we have negative b over 2a. A was 2 here. You're going to get 8 over 4, or just simply 2 is equal to x. So at x equals 2, this is the vertical line that divides your parabola in half. Your vertex is going to be on this axis of symmetry. So to kind of set up what the graph currently looks like to us, this is our grid. At x equal 2, this is the line that divides our parabola in half. All right, not a very good line, but there it is. So we know that it's somewhere on x equals 2. How do we find the y value? We're going to plug it back into our equation. So y is equal to 2 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 1. So 2 times 4 minus 16 plus 1. So 8 minus 16 plus 1. So negative 7. Alright. So now we know that at x equal 2 and y equal negative 7, we have our vertex. We know it's a minimum point. You could calculate the zeros. I'm not going to take that time. But it's going to look something like this. Alright? The best way to get what a quadratic graph looks like is in your calculator. You dump it into y equals, you press graph, or you dump into y equals, press second table, and you can get those values pretty handily. There are ways to calculate your maximum and minimum on the calculator. You will see those in class. But this is how to do it by hand, and that is how we will teach you this year.